So hello everyone, this is Aether Nightmare, and welcome to a redo Let's Play that I'm starting on my channel of Dot Hack Infection. Oh boy, there's a lot to say about this game. Namely, that it is actually a quadruple series of games that all got released separately, but are instead actually one main plotline. Likewise, you've probably heard me mention this game numerous times in other playthroughs. Namely, games like Final Fantasy XIV or Honkai Star Rail, and I figured, you know what, instead of making people wildly speculate what I'm talking about in an era where wikis are no longer reliable, I thought maybe it would be in my best interest to just show you the game in question and let you experience it yourself. Now, this is an old game coming out in 2001 on the PS2, but originally, it also had a online counterpart to it known as Dot Hack Fragment, and in that counterpart, like I said, it was in fact an MMO where you could create a character, visit these other worlds, and do battle and whatnot in the same sort of vein that this game is going to be. Prior to World of Warcraft really popularizing the genre of what most people expect MMOs to be, basically auto-battlers with a sort of turn-based sense to them, prior to that, Japan had a lot of MMOs that never took off in the West or even got released, such as the case of Fragment, but were very different from what you and I would consider multiplayer online games. And in the case of Dot Hack, it was very popular for its time, even though it didn't take off as much in the West, both for the themes and issues that it discussed, but also it really tied in with the pop culture feeling of this new online universe at the time when online games were in their infancy. So really quick, I'm gonna change a few settings. Voiceover, you do have the option of playing in Japanese. I'm gonna play in English because I know a lot of people like to watch passively. And movie texts, yeah, there we go, subtitles. And so let us begin a new game, so I can show you what this universe is all about. My OG MMO, if you will. Which, by the way, this game is entirely single player. The online mode came on an entirely different disc. So this is its own self-contained story.
Der Mann des Schattens, auf der Suche nach dem Abendrachen, ist noch nicht zurückgekommen. Der Herd der Finsternis grollt. Helba, Königin der Finsternis, stellt schließlich ein Heer auf. Alparon, König des Lichts, grüßt sie, und sie treffen sich am Fuße des Regenbogens. Die verfluchte Welle muss gemeinsam bekämpft werden. Der See von Alba brodelt. Der große Baum des Lichts fällt. Alle Macht zerfällt zu Tropfen im Tempel von Arche Köln. Wesen ohne Schatten, ihre Welt zerfällt zu nichts. Der Mann des Schattens auf der Suche nach dem Abenddrachen kehrt niemals mehr zurück.
Epitaph of the Twilight by Emma Wayland. There's going to be a lot of sort of references to German in this playthrough.
Okay, user registration is done. Now for a name.
There's going to be a lot of references to a German language based off of the fictional programmers that designed the game. And as a result, you don't need to know the language in order to get through it, but there is going to be a tie-back theme, is I guess what I'm getting at.
Yasuhiko's probably already there waiting for me. I'd better hurry.
But if you're familiar with anime such as Serial Experiments Lain, for example, I hear that's coming back in popularity. This is absolutely going to embody some of that early 2000s, what the actual heck is the internet vibe? And the question of, you know, if we integrate so much of ourselves into these online lives, how inseparable are they really to ourselves as people? I won't spoil too much for you, but we're going to get into it. And for people who say, wow, this is really similar to Sword Art Online. Yes, it is. SAO took a lot from this series, like a whole lot. So if you like Sword Art, welcome! Reconfirming your name and character name. So I am just going to... This isn't too important, it just ties together your saves later on, if you decide to load up extra discs. And it's always fun to be able to point to yourself and say, hey, that's me in the credits. It's sort of giving you a fake login screen just to help immerse. Of course, if you're playing Fragment, this would actually be your real login screen. So much easier to set up than Final Fantasy XI, dear lord. Where's the M? I'm thinking of this like an actual keyboard, so things are a little different in terms of space. So, Aether Nightmare, that's me. And next, the character's default name is Kite, canonically in this universe, but I'm just gonna make it myself. Oops, how do I... Oop! No. It's been a little while since I've done this. Okay. How does thou delete circle? And when I get into the game, I am actually going to be widescreen hacking this into full HD, so it might look a little bit different than when I'm getting started. Okay, all done. Username, Aether Nightmare. Character name, Bren. Registering name, proceed? Yes. User registration is approved. Oh my god, so much easier than some of the other MMO hoops you had to jump through back in the day. It would literally take you like a full day to get a game set up and running. It was a different time. To start the game, select the world from your desktop. That's going to be the name of the in-game universe. Sort of like in Final Fantasy XIV, we go to Eorzea. Please enjoy the world. You have new mail, so it starts you out actually on like a desktop browser just to make this feel a little bit more immersive. So let us go down and check our mail. CC Corporation, that is the company that runs the virtual game. So we're going to be playing a game within a game. I hope that doesn't get too trippy for people, but we just went through Penacony and Hahakai Star Rail, so it shouldn't be too bad. CC Corporation is, like I said, the people who built the game, and it's also sort of the people who really did build the game CyberConnect Company Ltd. And CyberConnect really did make this game. They also continue making games. They make the Fuga series now. So I highly recommend looking into some of their other stuff. It's a little trippy. It's sort of like if you play a game and suddenly Square Enix sends you a virtual email. Anyway, Yasuhiko, that is our friend. Registered yet? Hey, did you finish registering? What kind of character are you? Oh, and like I said at school, you'll regret it if you use a smart-ass name. I'm Orca in the world, so keep that in mind. Don't call me by my real name. You can be a different person when you're there. Well, more like the guy you want to be. Anyway, I'll be at Root Town. So just like choosing your character name, most people don't want to use their real names, but back then that was like a new and fresh and funky thing. Usernames were a new concept. Weird to think about. So many people today that are play online games, that's just like a given, but here it was a brand new thing. CC Corporation, thank you for registering. This is a notification mail to complete the registration process. The world, the game, is comprised of several servers. The adventure begins by inputting codes at the Chaos Gates in the Root Towns, which are located in each of the servers. Let me introduce each of the servers in Root Towns. So instead of having different servers like Final Fantasy XIV, this functioned more along the lines of like the game is so big and people are so spread out, and not that many people played MMOs back then anyways, that The servers were different towns. So as you progressed and got higher up in level, different towns were on actual different servers. Weird little concept that would not work today, but back then it did. Aqua capital Mankanu. I'm probably going to say these wrong because German. Mankanu means the son of a goddess. There are waterways throughout the town. The sound and the scenery will bring you peace. So everybody starts out in Mankanu, and then we travel up according to this. Highland City Dun Loriag means the Weaver Guardian. It is a city protected by sprites with buildings made of rocks coexisting with nature. The wind will challenge the adventurers on their quest. Cultural City, Carmina Gadelica. This one's, I think we'll make it up to Dun Loriag in this patch, and then these other ones are going to be in different discs. Carmina Galdicia means the Song of Gale. It is a metropolis, a fusion of science and traditional cultural knowledge. Ariel City, Fort Auf. Fort Auf means the Fort of Elves. It originated as a fort built in preparation for a war with Carmina Gadelica, but since the peace agreement, it has acted as a watchtower for monsters. So it has its own fictional universe and culture and stuff, but the culture of the game and the culture of the player base is different, and we're gonna see that. Relic City Leofail. Leofail means the Stone of Destiny. The city was a holy ground for the Tartarga people before the Great War, but it was destroyed by the Carmina Galdacia forces, which did not like the idea. Please choose them at the Chaos Gate in the Root Town. That's how you warp from place to place. It's kind of like your Aetheryte crystals. It is recommended that you play in the Delta server while your level is low. Now let's go on an adventure. Yeah, recommended. It's gonna, in the single player campaign, which is what we're doing, it's gonna force you into that. The online fragment version isn't really a thing anymore. It's shut down, so everything we're doing is single player. Version update. The system of the world has been updated to version 2.75. With this update, the following elements have been added. Monster tolerances, yada yada. So this is a fake update, but nonetheless. For a group of monsters, certain physical and magical attacks will cause 0 damage because of their defense mechanisms. Elemental hit. Attack with elemental skills that are opposite the monster attribute and will result in a double damage. Treasure chest items. You may obtain different treasure items depending on the type of treasure chests. Many items are now available from the God statue. Means God statue. For more details, please see the version update information listed on the board. So there's going to be an actual forum board. And news. So I actually recommend new people who aren't used to this universe reading things like the news. There is an anime to go along with it, but there is just so much data about this world. It really is its own little MMO universe. And for people in the West, it probably seems weird, but you have to remember that this was a story tie-in to an existing MMO. For a lot of people, this was important, fun information. It was sort of like if Final Fantasy XIV were a multimedia property instead of just one singular MMO. New transportation services. So it's also going to give you more context for the universe outside of the MMO as well during the time period that this took in, since it's meant to take place not in the too distant future. I don't remember the exact date, but sort of like today, and it is almost scary how many things it got right. The Real-Time Transportation Control System, RTCS, ended its trial period today and will be fully operational starting tomorrow. It is predicted that chronic traffic jams will be resolved by the system. Unfortunately, that one is not a real thing. This system's main feature is the ability to control and adjust traffic lights depending on the situation. It can also predict the best timing at railway stops. When there is a crime, it will turn all traffic lights around the area to red to help prevent the culprit from escaping. Of course, it is questionable whether criminals will follow the traffic laws. That was actually a thing for a little while. That is tech that we have. Some areas use it and some don't. Some, like Texas, they have the cameras that can actually take photographs of like your license plate and you just get fined later. But yeah, because criminals, guess what? They don't follow lights. The world tops 20 million. Sales of the online role-playing game, The World, made by CC Corporation, December 2007. Okay, so this was a little later, so it was about a decade or two, based on which universe we're in. There's going to be multiple versions of this, just trust me. It's going to be like a not too distant future, but relatively close, and it's going to hit a couple things that actually happen. Have exceeded 20 million copies worldwide. The game was the first online title released since the Twilight of the New Gods incident, so that's going to take a little bit to explain. It sold 10 million copies in its first 6 months and has steadily grown in sales throughout various upgrades. Report states that there are around 10 million users in Japan alone. CC Corporation in its press release stated, "We are grateful for the support, but also feel there is a social obligation that we must meet." According to the source within CC Corporation, they are considering a submission to the guideline book of the world's records as the highest selling game in history. So really, really quick, this is an anime thing and it's gonna be needed a little bit later to make sense. The Twilight of the New Gods. Basically, the internet as we knew it got attacked and the whole thing went down. It basically had the whole AI bullshit we had today, but it got so bad and had so many cyber attacks go off at once, the internet became completely unusable. And as a result, they built a new internet called Ultimate, with an A. And Ultimate is supposed to be impervious to things like hacking, and it's also super duper fast. So much so that we're able to have a game like The World, where you and I are going to view it like a typical MMO, but the characters in-universe wear headsets that allow them to be in virtual reality, exactly like Sword Art Online, which are called the Neuro Goggles, or FMDs. Sony, announced that it will sell a new head-mounted video display, the Neuro Goggle FMD. It is customized for the popular CC Corporation game, The World. Retail price has not yet been set. Compatible with the mega popular online game, The World. It's lightweight with rainbow eye coatings and a maximum of 100-hour connectivity using the CC Iron battery. Gee, I wonder what this looks like. Sony wouldn't happen to have something like that for virtual reality on modern consoles, would they? And to us, we look at that and it's like, Bren, that's just VR, of course. Yeah, VR didn't exist when this game was out, okay? 0.49 error rate. The sound recognition device has evolved into near perfection with less than 0.5 error rate. When switched to chat mode, it recognizes the pauses by the speaker and translates them to ellipses. The day may come when the keynotes are obsolete, so this is speech to text. So characters, when they talk in the game, it also has text that automatically comes up regardless of language, and it auto-translates. Tech we have today. Tech that didn't exist when this game came out. Again. Nowadays, we just ask Siri, and we think nothing of it. WNC, official statement. The World Network Council, basically, internet politics. They had to elect people that actually know what the internet is. A wild concept. Hope we get to that one someday. Announced today that the market penetration of the Network OS Ultimate has reached almost 100% around the globe. This means that all networked computer terminals in homes or businesses are now compatible with Ultimate. WNC Public Relations stated that the Pluto Kiss incident, that's the same one I talked about before, of December 2005 and the 2-year period following the incident commonly known as the Twilight of the New Gods is now only a page in history. Yeah, so when the internet kind of borked worldwide, it sort of sent out all kinds of funky threats, including nuclear ones. Some officials state that after 6 emotional years of ups and downs, the new generation HyperNet plan proposed in April of 2004 has finally been fulfilled. So this all takes place on like a new internet that is supposed to be hack-free and will never have totally any problems ever. Yeah. Anyway, nope, none whatsoever. This game plot? What's plot? Let's jump into the world. You're not supposed to see those coming on the side, but this game's mostly 3D, so I have this widescreen patch, so you're gonna see a few errors in the meantime. There is a board that you can go into to learn both more about the game. I'm not gonna read all of these. I will read the news blasts just to give more context updates, not just for this game, but other random crap I talk about in Final Fantasy XIV and Honkai Star Rail. Because trust me, I reference this game so much, and most people don't even realize. Yeah. So feel free to read through these in your own pace. Heck, might even put them up myself without commentary just to keep an archive. But let's log in. Let's see this world. PS2 graphics and all. Aqua Capital Makanu. On the Delta server.
Hey, you made it. Hey, it's me, Orca, the Blade Master.
Whoa! You look looks so different from the real Yasuhiko. Nothing like the real you.
Hey, in this game I'm Orca. Regardless of what I am in reality, I'm pretty well known here.
In reality, they're middle schoolers.
What?
No, you look great.
Anyway, take this.
It's also worth noting that along with the VR tech, they have technology that can change your voice.
Member address is the flash mail address you can only access in the world. With flash mail, you can exchange messages with others in real time, as long as you are in the world. It's mostly used by newbies to contact other players to form a party. Try it out by inviting me to join your party. First, press the triangle button to open the menu. In the menu, select Party.
Oh my gosh, these old controls.
Next, select Add. Names of players who gave you their member addresses will be listed here. Choose a player you want to invite to your party and send a flash mail. Since you just started, you probably only have my member address. Now, press the X button twice to send a flash mail to me.
There we go, he's much higher level than us because he's been at this app for a while. How much of a while, we'll find out eventually.
Got it. Join my party. It's kind of weird mailing each other when we're face to face. See? My name appears under your screen. That means I'm in your party. By the way, flash mail is only available when you're in a town. Oh, and you can't contact people when they're not logged into the world.
Your maximum party number is 3, by the way. You can obviously have more friends than that, but it was always 3. Even in universe, it's 3. You can have a whole bunch of parties team up together, but a light party consists of 3 people.
People do have a life, you know. We're not online 24/7.
Unlike today.
In other words, you can't always count on the same members to form a party. So, try to get as many member addresses as you can. You'll have more fun that way. Well, how you play is up to you. But since EXP and stuff isn't divided among party members, you really don't benefit if you go solo.
In other words, you won't get more experience by traveling by yourself. Just bring other people with you. It's never a downside to it.
Okay. Well, why don't we head off? There's nothing to worry about. I found a perfect place for newbies.
Also, I can totally hear the microphone pops based on the old technology they recorded this with. I keep thinking it's my emulator, and that's like, no, it's 2001. That's what it is.
This is the Chaos Gate. A sort of transfer device that takes us from one place to another.
This will be our Aetherite kids.
Now, press the X button. In the world, each play zone is called an area, determined by a combination of 3 keywords. Select New Keyword. This is the keyword screen. At the top is the entry plate. You put the 3 selected keywords one by one for each part, A, B, and C. Left of the entry plate is all the keywords you have.
Yeah, open world MMOs were not really too much of a thing yet. There were obviously a few, but not every MMO was open world like they used to be. They used to be segmented up into fragments. And in .hack's case, you pick one of those fragments, hence the name, oh my gosh, it suddenly makes sense, by combining a whole lot of keywords.
You can collect more of them by reading your emails, the board, and from other players. Now, let's enter some keywords by starting with part A.
Basically, different keywords would take you to different types of dungeons. There are home areas, but there also might be some special things in special keywords. There's going to be a lot of urban legend stuff in this game.
Select Bursting from the list. Good. Next for part B, select Passed Over. For the last one in part C, select Aquafield.
And as you can see by the status screen, different keywords, you can sort of mess around with them to get the type of dungeon that you want. Basically, what type of weather, what type of field it is, so like a grass field, a fire field, an ice field, etc. You can mess around with it to get better results, so something with like a higher item level would give you better drops, but it's also probably going to have way worse enemies.
Now you're done specifying the area.
As you can see, once we queue them in, the battle level is 1, so it's a newbie zone, and the element is going to be wood.
Oh, one more thing. You see the symbol on the left next to the keyword? That's the server symbol. It indicates which server you are currently logged on to.
Like I said earlier, each server is going to be its own town.
This symbol is Delta, so we're logged on to the Delta server. The list on the bottom right is the area status list. See the jewel next to the field type and dungeon? That indicates how the selected keyword affects the status.
And honest to God, don't ask me how it works because I never really figure it out. I'm such an unga bunga that I don't care.
For example, check the field type. See the jewel on the right? This means that the field type is being determined by Aquafield, the keyword in C. We don't know what kind of field the current keyword will create until we get there. But once we learn the effect of that keyword, we can combine it with other keywords effectively. For more details, check out the board on your own time. All right, let's get going to the Delta Bursting Passed Over Aquafield. Select Warp.
And away we go.
Before we get going, let me explain to you about the camera control.
And since it was a wood element, we are either going to end up in a forest or like a grassland, and then this one is a grassland.
During the game, enemies will attack from all directions.
And it will matter once you start getting more elements, but that'll be later.
The idea is to adjust your view quickly to see your enemy and grasp the situation. I'll explain more later, but remember, you can only use skills on targets you can see. Basically, if you don't use the camera right, you'll be dead before you know it. First, rotate the camera. Push either the L1 button or the R1 button to move the camera.
You can also use the stick. It's just that, another fun fact, a lot of PS2 controllers back in the day didn't have sticks yet. DualShock was a new thing.
Good. Next, let's zoom in and zoom out. You can zoom the camera in or out by using the right analog stick. Try it.
Like this. But we can also swivel around with it.
Yeah, that's it. Finally, you reset the camera by pushing the R2 button. There you go. Remember, when the battle starts, constantly adjust your camera.
You don't need to.
Okay. And this is the field. It's the lowest level in the area. When you want to return to the town, press the triangle button and select Gate Out from the menu. Grassland, wilderness, and jungle are some of the field types. You can set them with keywords. The combination of field type and weather determines the area elements. For example, if it's a grassland and it's raining, that area will be a water element stage. The elements also affect the type of monsters that will appear and the items you can get. Don't worry about it now. As you get used to it, combine words to get different elements. Now, let's get going on our quest. First, check the map at top right. You see the red down arrow on it? That's the gate to the dungeon. In the dungeon's deepest level, there's a god statue that usually holds a rare item.
You don't have to go down into every dungeon, but there is a reward for getting so many treasures.
Basically, the goal is to reach this statue. but enemies are often tougher down there. So gain some levels above ground before you head below. Okay, wait a sec.
Or can use the fairy's orb.
By using the fairy's orb, hidden data on the map becomes visible, like this.
You'll be able to buy those in shops.
Yellow areas on the map show magic portals, where you encounter monsters and treasures.
Keep in mind, too, there are more monsters on the field than what is just the portals. You can get rewards for clearing out all of the portals within a map. However, there will always be some enemies that spawn in regardless of portals.
Alright. How about we go pick a fight? Head for one of the magic portals. For a basic attack, approach the target and press the X button.
So this is not a turn-based game. This is actually an action-based game. It's being generous and it seems somewhat turn-based at the beginning, just because it's teaching us the ropes and the tutorials. But no, you're gonna hit things and things are gonna hit you.
By the way, a cursor appears on the target so that you can check its name and hit points. Try using a basic attack to defeat some monsters.
So X is just your regular attack. We'll stick with this for now. Characters do have classes, by the way. You see I have two little knives, while he has a greatsword. We'll get more into that in a bit.
You started to get the hang of it, right? Okay, let's try using skills.
And you saw our experience gain was different. So sort of like Pokemon Black and White, experience gain is based off of your levels. So if you are in a dungeon that is too low leveled for you, you'll only get like 1 EXP and it's not worth it. You always level up with 1,000 experience. Regardless, and the rest is scaled based on how powerful the dungeon is in comparison to you. That way you can't cheese experience by just grinding the low level areas.
Press the triangle button to open the menu and select skills.
Okay, admittedly this does pause the game when you go in to choose your skills, but that's also because it was really hard to get this to work back in the day.
Okay then. Choose Rep from the list.
So we do have some physical attacks, Saber Dance, Magic. Some of these, I don't remember exactly what they'll do, but they will give you a description later on. What you have equipped will also affect what magic you can use. So Rep is a healing spell.
When the target cursor appears, select the target and press the X button to execute.
So it's a healing spell we can use on either of us, not that either of us need it.
That's it. Pretty easy, huh? You can target a party member for recovery or remedy skills, and the enemy for attack skills. Remember, you can only apply skills to targets within your view. Before using a skill, adjust the camera so that your target comes into view.
Because there's no mouse on this thing. Actually, funny thing is you actually could put a keyboard and mouse onto a PS2, just like you can any modern PlayStation console, but for this particular game, we aren't going to be using it.
Well, you must be sick of me at this point. It's your turn to tell me what to do by using chat commands. Okay, I'll teach you the command to get your members to heal. Okay then, press the square button to open the menu. Next, go ahead and choose First Aid from the menu.
So this is an easier way to control your party members. Sort of similar to games like Persona 3. You can't directly control any of your party members, so this will just better help you utilize certain AI, along with different strategies, where you want them to stand, etc. First Aid is going to be the one you use the most.
It's good to be the boss, isn't it? If you use it well, you can bunch up on the enemy, or give separate orders to each party member. When you add new members to the party, try various chat commands to see their effects. That's it for now. Just remember what you learned, and start exploring. When you think you're ready, we'll head for the dungeon.
So there are some other things that we can check out here really quick. Oops, I accidentally put it into... Oh, that's because my controller's broken. Sorry. I keep accidentally bumping L2. I'm gonna have to hold my hands ever so slightly different. But if you want, you can tap L2 and put it into first-person mode if that's your way of playing games. You want to make this feel more like Skyrim, then, like, go for it. Do what you want. So this is a spring, but we can't interact with it yet.
Maybe I should throw in a weapon or a piece of armor.
Yeah, keep that in mind for later. This is going to be how you upgrade some of your gear, if you so choose. Draw distance is kind of funky in this game, but there are some little doodads you can collect out here as well. You now have a Mandragora. It's added to the key items. These have a purpose much, much later. Just collect them in the time being. If you see a little dude that you can collect, there's no shame in grabbing him. I wonder if I can see my party member from here. This is the main stuff. That ain't it. Where the heck is my menu? Status. Here we go. Status. So there we go. Experience. Every 1,000 experience is going to get us a level. And like I said, the experience we gain is based off of how strong the dungeon itself is. Money. Class. We are a Twin Blade. So we're going to be able to use moderate attack spells and moderate healing. We're sort of like the in-between everything class, the Jack of None. And Orca here is a Blade Master. He's going to do more offense and teeny weeny bits of healing. The other stuff you can see your physical, your magical stats, and the other ones are elements. We don't need to worry about those too much as of yet. And you won't be able to change your class in this game. If you were playing Fragment, you would get to choose what kind of class you played, but for this game in particular, we're going to be stuck as Twin Blade for the whole journey.
Now we can start exploring the dungeon. One thing you need to remember is that you can't gate out when you're in a dungeon. To gate out and return to the town, you have to go back to the field. The Sprite Ocarina will warp you to the surface, but you can't use it during battle.
You also have to buy that from a shop.
This is the treasure box, but you knew that, right? You should know that there are two types of treasure boxes, normal and booby-trapped. This one's normal. Hit the X button to open it.
You now have Resurrect.
This one's booby-trapped. Notice a different color? Try to open it as is, and you're screwed.
There's all kinds of different stuff that can happen. Deals damage, cause status effects, and usually you only get a key to open it again.
Just use the fortune wire on it. This item will disarm the trap.
If you open it, yeah, you only get fortune wires. As is. So you gotta use a fortune wire first, and then it turns into normal loot.
See? Now it's safe to open. Press the X button to open it.
So always carry just an absolute obscene amount of fortune wires because you're wasting your time if you don't. And they're cheap. And the Death. That, I believe, is a spell scroll. Some of your spells you can learn by leveling up. Some is by having various equipment that grants you the ability. And some are stored as one-time usage spell scrolls. Now, for me personally, I am going to hoard absolutely every damn scroll that I can get my hands on, because they are going to be deliberate for some of the bosses later in this game, which are doozies.
What the? Did you just see that?
Yeah?
Yeah. Was that thing chasing her?
Yeah, but something like that on this level?
In other words, that's a thing that's not supposed to be here. So let's go where it went. This is literally a super newbie zone. It's a dead end. That girl. We have a speed charm that lets us run a little faster. More useful for just getting through dungeons quickly. And I will be doing the majority of leveling up in my own time. Just in case these dungeons are too tedious, but I will show the ones with story.
Better watch out. We're trapped in here. In the dungeon, there are rooms with traps everywhere. The only way to get out of a trap like this is by activating all the magic portals in the room. All right, let's charge to that magic portal.
Especially since so many of the, yeah, Orca just kills everything in one hit because he's level 50. So much of the dungeons are just procedurally generated by machine anyway. It takes predetermined assets and sort of shuffles them for you. Which back then was really cool technology. Sort of creating an infinite game. Forget which way. I'm pretty sure up is the way to go. Sometimes they spawn treasure. I bumped the thing again. If I randomly go into first person, just let be known that my controller is broken at the moment. Oh, I think too, that was something. The treasure chest still counts as a monster when it spawns out of a portal like that, so you have to open it. So if you don't have any fortune wires and it's a treasure chest that came out of a portal, you are going to have to open it to get out of the room. So I'm gonna do my best to not bump my very, very sensitive L2 button, but if I randomly go into first person, that's what happened.
This is the room where the statue is.
Long story short, it has a short in it.
There's only one of them at the dungeon's deepest level, and you can get rare items from it.
Basically, my controller is abused from too much Final Fantasy XIV.
That's enough adventure for now. Let's grab the treasure and get back to town, shall we? If we had a Sprite Oak Arena, we could warp out of here. But we don't have one. So we gotta go back the way we just came.
How are you level 50 without any Sprite Ocarinas? You now have yellow candy and a rainbow card. Most of this is just stuff you can sell. The blades, though, I think are better. You can go down to equipment. So these are the skills that these blades grant. Saber Dance, Repth, and Vakrus. Can I... Then we check down to other stuff that we can change it to. So Saber Dance becomes Tiger Claws, which I think is just a slightly more powerful version of Saber Dance. And physical attack goes up, accuracy goes up for both magic and physical. So if it is red, when you change, that means the stat goes down, and if it's green, that means it goes up. So if I was to go back down to amateur blades, you can see that they turn sort of reddish-orange. Bet you're really regretting that Sprite Ocarina right about now. But it's all corrupted. It's broken.
Or was the rumor true?
Take this.
Huh?
Please take this. There's no time. Please.
What's this?
A great force. The power it holds can bring forth either salvation or destruction at the whim of the user. It's coming.
It's worth noting that the book says Book of Twilight on the spine. It will be relevant. And yes, those runes are translatable.
Run. It'll kill you. What the hell? What is this? Something wrong. Nothing works.
You know, the funny thing is the accuracy in this game is so bad that that's normally the hit kind of ratio I get anyways.
It wasn't supposed to be this way. I'm sorry. Get out of here!
He's not treating this as an MMO situation. It's almost like Orca knew from the beginning what's happening. Lots to hold on to. And that's not my emulator freaking out, by the way. Well, this is. You won't see it because I'm going to fix it in post. But, no, the game itself is breaking. Canonically. System error. Yeah, there's going to be a few technical glitches from the emulator, but... most of them are just going to be at the beginning of the game, and I worked around it already.
What was wrong with Yasuhiko? Why was he upset?
And notice I was in a completely different area than the other two scenes as well.
I wanted to ask him, but he wouldn't even pick up the phone. And then, the next day, I found out that Yasuhiko had been hospitalized. I rushed to the hospital, but they wouldn't even let me see him. But I guess it's better this way. I didn't want to see him all week, and he wouldn't want that either. But what the hell happened to him? I have a feeling that the key to it is somewhere in the world.
Yeah, that weird event that happened. That thing that kind of defies game logic. You have new mail. CC Corporation's server problems. To all users of the world, we apologize for the inconvenience due to problems with our servers. Currently, we are focusing our efforts on finding the cause of the problem. However, in order to proceed efficiently, we will limit play to the Delta and Theta servers. Thank you for your understanding. Alright, let's log back in. It's almost like that thing that happened knocked out the entire game itself. Thank you for visiting the world. All services are currently unavailable due to maintenance. We apologize for any inconvenience and ask for your patience. So let's try the board instead.
I should post on the board about Yasuhiko. Maybe someone will respond to it.
Arthur Kite. My friend is in a coma after playing this game. He's hospitalized and still isn't out yet. But do these things actually happen? Does anyone know the reason? Anyone know why someone else in the same state? How can I get him out of the coma? The people who made this game look here too, right? Please give me some kind of information, thank you. Which seems like a weird stretch, but you gotta remember, 1, Kite is a middle schooler, and 2, you just witnessed something really weird. So it is the kind of post that a middle schooler would make. Here we go. Here's our post, we can see it on the board. Sorry, it doesn't completely fit the aspect ratio based off of the widescreen hack, but it makes the rest of the game look so much better. And we gotta exit out from here. Basically, every time you return to your desktop, it counts as like a day having passed. So if you're ever unable to progress the game for whatever reason, log out. Log out, read your mail. And suddenly, we get a really weird email from a fuzzy picture that looks like the girl we saw being chased, and is somewhat untranslatable. Actually, it is translatable. I think I can remember what it says. Aura, please. To the one who holds the book, Something is looking for me. There is no time. Please help me. And I do know what that says, but I'm not going to translate it for now. Who sent this? I can't read it. Yeah, I can. Because I was in middle school once too, and we all used to write like that. Helped keep your parents from reading what you said. Let's check on our post, see how it's doing. Okay, we can still see it? Can we log in then? We can. It's still up. Okay. We just log into People Watch.
What is it? You got something to say?
No.
Oh, I get it now. You are a newbie, aren't you? I might have guessed. Well, are you or not? Come on now, don't be shy. You can tell me. Listen. In case you're not aware of it, you're being very rude. It's impolite to stare at someone like that. You have to understand it's the same as the real world. Don't you get it? Ugh. Last chance. What is up with you anyway, huh? Come on, will you say something already?
Those random people you meet in raids who take their day out on you. Although in this case, I just logged in. How do you know I was even staring at you? I could have been looking at something else. Like, in the real world. I guess I'll get my gear first. I want to collect some information as well. So here we go, we can see different things. From top to bottom on the left, I believe we have the gate screen. This is where we save. By the way, you can save on your PC as well. Your PC menu, I should say. Items is down here. It's common sense to take along plenty of healing medicine. These are NPCs, by the way. In universe as well. If you have SP recovery medicine, you'll never have to worry about overusing your skills. Which, I didn't say while in the dungeon, but you restore MP by running around. Let's just get an absolute global ton of... We have 1,000 GP, which is money, so... I am unironically going to get like 50 fortune wires because I will be buying more of them constantly. All kinds of stuff that you can get, increases physical accuracy, stuff like that. Use these at your own discretion. You will be picking up a lot of them in the dungeon itself. So I'd really focus on just getting the fortune wires for now. Oh, doggone it. Stop. And this is storage. Elf's Haven. You can store unused items here, so the downside of this game is that there is a really strict inventory cap because once upon a time, online storage capacity was really, really bad, and hanging onto your character meant it had to transmit a lot more data, so yeah, with how stringent data caps were at the time, you had to often store your items somewhere else, which I guess is true in Final Fantasy XIV to a degree, though it's not born out of necessity anymore. So I'm going to store a few stuff. So I'm going to store my spells. So I'm probably going to keep the speed charm, poison. Anytime I get spells, I'm probably going to return here and drop them off. Cannot be used, sell for money or trade. Yellow candy and rainbow cards. So there's going to be NPCs running around the map. Eventually, there's one. If you talk to them, they can be traded to. If you so choose, please select an item from the list presented from the trader. So they'll all have like a random assortment of things that you can potentially trade for if you want. It does say the item level gear down there at the bottom, so level 5, a weapon for Twin Blade, so Kite can use it at level 5. So if you wanted to, you could pick something. I'm gonna randomly pick something. Select items to trade with. You can trade if the world approve lights up, so give them enough of your stuff. As you can see, if I trade one of these, it lights up all the stars. And that's another way to get items if you so choose. I almost rarely use this feature. I forget it exists. Oop, hey, come back. Come back. She's gonna run around the entire time until later.
You again. I'm busy right now. Can't you just leave me alone?
She's voiced. It's almost like she's important. Magic shops, this is where you can buy some more scrolls. You're gonna get so many scrolls in the dungeon, I don't really recommend it unless you have like a very unique playstyle. And weapons. Again, you're gonna get so much good stuff in the overworld anyways, just by playing the game. These are gonna be outdated like so fast. You can use special skills by equipping weapons and armor. When you buy equipment, pay attention to the skills as well as the parameters. Yeah, you can accidentally get rid of your healing spells. Don't do that. It's almost like you can buy a whole bunch of stuff, as if you're gonna have party members you can give things to later. But that is it pretty much for this place. So let's return to the gate.
Wait a sec.
Where did you come from?
Yeah, you. I know some interesting keywords. If you go with me, I'll tell you what they are. Do you want to know?
This is kind of that urban legend. I found a secret spot in such and such a game. But in this universe, it really does exist. By all means.
Right on, that's the spirit. Spoken like a true newbie.
Basically, in-universe, there's so many keywords that it's near impossible for everybody to visit them all. So somebody having, like, rare keywords for good treasure is a good deal.
The keywords are Delta, Hidden, Forbidden, Holy Ground.
Basically, the modern internet would make this concept completely obsolete, but those of us who didn't have access to the modern internet back then, because it was not a thing, with constant forward boards nowadays, you can look stuff up and there's websites entirely dedicated to these are the best zones for everything, break the game in half, and developers have to work around it. But back then, since our internet was crap by comparison, stuff like this really did happen. So our modern brains think of it like, oh, well, you would just find that out automatically, but back then you didn't and couldn't. Everything really did sort of spread by either word of mouth or very small forum boards that very few people used. Not just these huge congregated spaces of social media, because congregated social media spaces weren't really a thing. There were some niche forum boards, but it really was nothing like we have today.
Hey, aren't we going to the Delta, Hidden, Forbidden, Holy Ground?
So if your brain is having a hard time believing in that, just trust the process.
You have to add me to your party.
Trust the process. Okay. Oh, we can't add Orca, by the way. He's still in our friends list, but as you can see, there is no response to the flash mail. Player is absent from the world. Basically, it's saying he's perma-logged out. Or just regular logged out. Game doesn't know perma-logged out. So she is a heavy blade, so she has virtually no access to spells, but she does decent physical damage. And she was making fun of us being a newbie, but check out her level. Not a single experience point, ma'am.
Okay, here I come.
I think too we go to word list to get it properly going off for stuff that is event-wise. You won't be able to input it normally. You have to go to a word list. In Forbidden Holy Ground, level 6 water. Don't worry too much about the level for this one, but in particular. Normally, I would advise you to never go 3 levels above your current character, but this is a rare exception.
Whoa, this place is...
Because the difficulty ranks up fast.
Huh?
Never mind, let's go. Well, are you going to escort me like a proper gentleman?
What does that even mean? But yeah, this isn't a typical field now, is it? And as we get closer, the music isn't coming from the stage, it's coming from inside.
What is that thing? Stay back! Oh no!
It's almost like she doesn't know how to play the game.
So that's it. Pretty weak, huh? What do you know? You didn't even need my help at all, did you? That statue. It looks so sad.
Does she look familiar at all?
Scaith, Enos, Magus. I can't read anything else. The inscription is faded.
By the way,
Hmm?
I guess you can tell that I'm a newbie too.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah.
It must be pretty obvious by the way I acted back there. But you still hung out with me. You know what? You're nicer than I thought. You see, I'm trying to find...
Hey, what are you doing?
What? What about you, huh?
No time to explain. It's too dangerous here.
What?
I'm telling you to get out.
Yeah, anytime you see the game glitch out like that, it means bad
Leave
news.
here at once.
Of course, to poor Black Rose, it probably just seems like an intrusion of boundaries. Like, I'm allowed to play here, dude.
This one as well.
But how? Tell me what's going on here. That thing should have been dead. Why is it glowing like that? It's so freaky. Is this for real?
It's a bug from a computer virus. The virus is rewriting the data. It has a hit point that's infinite.
This is the one.
You must escape while I buy some time.
Because of this thing, I'll kill you!
No! You can't kill it! Leave it be or you'll be killed!
The book. Open the book.
The book?
The power it holds can bring forth either salvation or destruction at the whim of the user.
You've installed the Book of Twilight. Yes, it's been in our inventory the whole time. I actually could have looked at it, but I totally forgot. Unless our character data gets rewritten. You'll notice too a lot of the characters have interesting patterns and shapes on their clothes and sometimes even the makeup on their faces. That is spell patterns. So it's for like an element of your character. I don't mean that in like an aesthetic sense. I mean a literal...
Like the time when Orca...
like fire, lightning, water, etc.
That skill. Now, I understand.
And we just got a new one.
You are the same as the virus. To think that I was saved by someone like you.
No! That's not... I don't even know what's...
Do not lie to me. Recently, Many places within the world have been damaged by a virus.
That thing the internet isn't supposed to get anymore.
Those who willfully spread the virus and destroy this world for their own amusement, they shall receive no mercy.
Also,
No, that's
bombing
not
is just
me,
a little bit too chronically online.
I did not expect to find the one responsible so soon. Draw! Draw your sword, now!
I won't! There's no reason to do that!
There is for me.
He takes things a little too personally sometimes.
No! I don't want to fight!
What is the matter with you? That's hardly the way to talk to someone who just saved your life.
I still do not trust you. I just require the time to think this through. But if I find out that you are indeed in with them, I will kill you.
Who's them?
That was rather childish for Balmonk of the Azure Sky, the descendant of Fianna.
I do not speak with hackers.
That boy, he's a friend of your partner.
Orca?
He's one of Orca's friends.
I thought he would end up like Orca, and I panicked. That's when I heard her voice.
The pure irony of that, too, is if Balmung hadn't come in like a hot iron, then we could have actually worked on this whole thing together from the very beginning and probably solved it way sooner, but his temper killed the opportunity.
It was the voice of the girl who gave the book to Orca.
I see. But what are you going to do if the data bug shows up again? That power put your friend... sorry.
I don't even know what this power is, or what she wanted Orca to do. And what am I supposed to do with this power?
Yep, basically getting attacked by one of those data bugs puts you in a coma.
All I want to do is help Orca.
If you die in the game, you get put in a coma in real life. But where are they? Where are they coming from? How could something that's part of a video game knock you out in real life? All things we will address in time.
Well, I've gotta go. Today was... I don't know what to say, but... Good night.
Alright, and there we go. And from this point on, I'm probably going to need to do quite a bit of leveling. So I'm gonna do some just as Kite in my own time. I know it said that having certain characters makes this go easier, but this way, when I log back into the game, it will have me starting out right where I left off. I'll usually probably start at the menu for the game, just to make things nice and coherent. So if I start out in a different spot, just be known that I've done a bit of leveling in my own time, and I'm ready to start the adventure after I return to the title screen, just like an actual MMO. So with this is where I'm going to leave things off for now. So if you want to see more .hack Infection in the future, like and subscribe, because it really does tie into a lot of other stuff that I talk about in other playthroughs. And this will become just more and more apparent as we go. But in the meantime, I hope to see you all in future videos. Bye-bye!